Locked in. I feel like I'm really late to that term and I can't stop saying it now. I'm kind of like, I'm locked in. And everyone's like, that was last year. Okay, well, I'm locked in this year.
Hi, this is One Swatch Chef's Choice. I'm Abby Kenna, and today I'm joined by Camille Schmidt.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm good. We were talking about this earlier, but I landed here like a day and a half ago.
Yeah.
And so I'm definitely like having the feeling of just kind of being like, whoa.
Yeah.
But it's not bad. It's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
a bad disorientation.
It's kind of like,
good.
It's kind of like it could be bad, but it's ultimately good because I feel like really happy to be here and excited about what I'm doing out here.
That's awesome.
I think it's just the feeling of, I think it's honestly what I'm experiencing is a temperature difference. And so I'm in shock, but overall positive shock.
It's like a serotonin shock, kind
Yeah.
of. I felt that when daylight savings hit a few weeks ago. I was talking to Giselle about this, where I got so anxious that the sun was going to be like awake for longer of the day. And I was like, well, if the sun is out, I have to work that full time.
Totally.
So that means now I'm working for 16 hours of the day.
For sure. Yeah.
Not how that works at
No,
all.
but I think that's really interesting logic. Yeah.
Yeah. It brings to light some issues. We have to sort out.
I see no problems.
Right. But you're based in New York City?
I'm based in Brooklyn, so
Okay.
kind of.
Kind of-ish.
But I think I didn't realize until recently that there is a difference. I feel like I'm always like, yeah, I'm living in New York City. And they're like, Manhattan? And I'm like, no, Brooklyn. And they're like, oh, so you're not in New York City. And I'm kind of like,
I feel
why draw lines in the sand?
it's
Let the sand
just-
be.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
It's that metropolitan
Mhm.
area. I think it's okay. To any of us in LA, we're not going to ask you
Cool.
Manhattan or Brooklyn.
Well, I really appreciate that. I feel safe here.
You're welcome with open arms.
Thank you. From any borough.
Any borough accepted. Well, thanks for coming on our little taste-making talk show.
Oh my God, I am overjoyed to be here.
Yay. We're stoked to talk about Nude number 9. It's famous in this house, truly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
This is a house meant for me then. Yeah.
Built for you.
Yes, built for me. Yeah.
Well, I would love to know, if listeners had never heard your music before, what is the appetizer to you? Where would you tell them to start?
I would probably say they should start with Stanley.
Going nowhere, got 2 hands and no one to hold them.
Because
Okay.
I think that is like the crowd pleaser of the moment. And I'm nothing if not ultimately like a partial people pleaser. So I'm kind of like, you might like that. Maybe this could be good for you. Camera person. So yeah, so I think that is also, that's where I'd say I'd start too, because I feel like it is like I love that song. I wrote it probably a year ago when I was out here. Yeah, and it's a song that I feel like is it's like me singing stream of consciousness and kind of narrating different experiences I had on my way to LA to record out here.
Okay.
So, which is kind of the journey I was on last year and is the journey I'm on right now. So it feels very relevant. And so that's what I would say to start with. Yeah.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think it's become the people pleaser, like generally accepted song?
Right. The song that people accept of mine.
Yeah.
I think I was confused at first not because I didn't like the song. I like it so much. And it's fun. I feel like I still really like it, which doesn't always happen with songs.
Mm-hmm.
But when I wrote it, I was like, this is a really weird, bad song. And I showed my friend and he was like, the song just has like ADHD. And I was like, well, I guess, yeah. And then I showed it to the producer that I'm working with out here, because I always send him whatever I write. And he was like, this is awesome. And I was like, okay. And then we worked on it a bunch, and probably up until like a week before, probably like a few days before we finished the album, I was like, I think we should cut this song. Like, I just feel like something's not clicking for me. And then I was like really trying to figure out what it was. And it was just the vocal we had at that time. So then I redid the vocal, and the original vocal, I'd been lying on the floor. And then and I was like, no, it doesn't have enough energy. So then I was like, okay, I have to do something different. So I was like, just keep repeating the song. And I ended up just like doing this while singing.
Oh,
And
interesting.
yeah. And I feel like I had to like I like had to like lock into the drums and just like fully move. And then I really liked it once we got a vocal take in which I was like fully like physically like heaving my body around the recording studio. And so partially I wonder if like that energy is transmitted like into the vocals. And so you can kind of feel that in the song. But also I think there's like this amazing guitar part that my friend Michael Haldeman wrote, and it is like so catchy, and I think that is like just such an earworm.
I love that. Okay. I have multiple questions. I do have to say I love like the image of you just like sort of heaving your body around, as you said.
I wish there was footage, but it was kind of like, I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, Ben, press play. I have this idea. And I was just like,
no, but it's so true because sometimes like the song needs more energy or like a sort of delivery in the vocal, and it's not volume or like going higher in pitch.
Yeah.
It's just about like what you're really doing to deliver.
Yeah, that's so it. And I feel like I've been learning that, and I've talked a bit about this before, but I spent so much time, I feel like when I first started recording music, trying to make sure that my voice sounded good, that when I was singing I was like just like engaging core, legs together, hands on legs, just like trying not to move at all, just like trying to have complete control over every note.
Yeah.
And so it's been like an unlearning process of being like, okay, how do I like actually like what feels good to me when I'm singing the music, which ends up being like figuring out how to get the feeling that I want to feel. And so it's been a lot of like letting myself kind of let loose in the studio, whether it's like, okay, I need to be lying down, I need to be jumping around, I need to like be shaking my body to get this.
Yeah.
And so that has been really fun, because I think again before I was like, oh, you sing louder or you sing quieter, but you don't move.
Right. Yeah, you're unseen.
Yes. Yeah. It's kind of like, how do I get the voice to come out of this body?
Literally.
Yeah. And now I think I'm like, oh, the voice kind of like changes when you move, and it's kind of all connected. It's not just like there's a voice and there's a body and then there's my mind in my head somewhere in my face.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a great way to look at it.
Yeah. But scientifically it does seem like it's all connected, which I'm learning. Yeah.
The voice does come from the body.
Yeah. And I believe it, based on my recent studies, self-studies. Yeah.
Very official. I'd love to hear about this recording process, both because you're living in New York City and you're...
Thank you for saying what it is.
You've been recording the album and all of your work, I believe, or upcoming work too, in LA.
Yeah.
So how did you make that choice, and how does that really work for you?
So yeah, the EP was recorded in Brooklyn.
Okay.
And then, but yeah, the past album and the upcoming unannounced album.
The upcoming something.
The upcoming something is being recorded in LA. It is really because the producer I love working with, Ben, is out here. And I think there's also something about being in a new place that's really helpful for almost like being able to actually see yourself and what you're working on, and what like being able to actually hear what things sound like, because you're not in your own space or in places that are so familiar to you that your brain, like the neurons kind of don't actually take in what's going on. They just kind of like blur over it. So
yeah,
I feel like it's always been exciting when I come out, because I'm like always interacting with things that I don't normally interact with, whether it's just sunlight or or whatever it is. So I think it's been helpful, especially because a lot of the album process is like constantly writing, like trying to get out like 4 or 5 songs a week. Like when I'm in writing mode, and then I'm usually in writing mode still while we're recording. And so that's really helpful to do out here. I feel like it's like whenever you're in a new place, you're suddenly like, oh, I have this idea, or these new atoms in my brain have like hit together that I've never hit before because of a ray of sunlight, or the Haley Bieber smoothie at Erewhon, or
right.
You know, the kind of like really important things about LA that one experiences out here.
Yeah.
So I think I came originally doing the last album to LA to work with Ben. And then this album again, I was like, I love working with Ben, so let's do it again. But I'm really happy to be able to be out here in general. Like if I could have chosen it in my ideal world, it would be like getting to record out here.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long are you in writing mode?
Yeah, so it depends. For the EP, I guess it's like, I don't remember how many songs it is. It's like 5 or 6 songs maybe.
Okay.
And they were songs that I'd written for the past like 8 years. They were like from that period of time.
Sure.
So, but it was more like, oh, I have all these songs. I just got to record them and pick what I want to put out there. And then for Nude number 9, Ben and I were kind of like, okay, let's get you into writing mode. Kind of like, let's have a really specific, almost like parenthetical time within which you will be writing. And so it started in December of 2024. Yeah.
3, 4.
2023, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, that is a
That
quick
is crazy.
turnaround there.
Yeah, it was actually, 20. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, the time continuum has broken after my experience on the airplane coming here.
Well,
yeah. So I started writing in December 2023, and then the process was like I would write anywhere from like 2 to 5 songs a week. And it's basically just like sitting down every day and just like seeing what comes out. It's kind of like morning pages, sort of, I guess. And I just like to write stream of consciousness. And so just doing that, sending them to Ben each week. Then we meet up one day that weekend over the phone and we talk about them. And so that was the writing process. And that took from like December to, we probably finished, the writing was all done for the album by May.
Okay.
I think. Yeah. So December, January, February, March, April, May. So it was like 6 months. And then this thing that I'm working on, this unannounced thing out here, right now, something really weird has happened, which is that in the past month, I have written all of it.
Okay.
And I kind of am like, what's going on? Am I ill?
Right.
This feels very quick. So, and who knows if I'll like end up writing a lot more songs that end up on it and in the future, or over the next few months. But this is kind of, whatever this is right now has been the shortest process. For at least like the writing portion. I think like since putting out Nude number 9, I've been in like HQ mode. Cause I'm kind of like one woman teaming it all, which is like, kind of insanity inducing, but doable kind of. And so I've been in like such HQ mode with like emails and press stuff and different things that it's like I've been needing to write because it's like, oh, there's this self that's like I'm not getting to interact with while I'm in HQ mode. So I think that's maybe like what caused this like sped up writing time, like parenthetical time.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I really rambled. Did that make any sense?
It did.
Okay.
It did. No,
I was like, I have no idea what I just said. No worries.
Selfishly, I'm asking, I'm also an artist.
Oh,
so
do you make music?
I do.
Fuck yeah, cool.
Not to make it about me.
Please make it about you.
I'm very curious, like other people's separation of like the one woman team and the like creative one woman team.
Like what is yours like when you're doing like HQ stuff versus making the art?
Yeah, right now not handling it well.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
Which is why I like really take advantage of these conversations to be like, how do you enjoy your time?
Yeah. Hypothetically.
I think I just released my first EP and
oh my god, okay, gotta get on that.
Thank you. Those songs though were like written over like a year and a half of time, and I think they were just like very sparse and sporadic. And then the next project I sort of like sat down for like 2 months and I just kept writing songs I liked, kind of how I would assume this unannounced next project sort of happened.
Yeah.
But now I'm in HQ mode of the EP and it's just like press, what comes next? Don't forget about me. Like, let me post on Instagram.
Totally.
And trying to...
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. I'm sorry for you too.
I'm sorry for all of us. Yeah.
Right. But I'm just curious, like, I think I'm learning that I don't do both well at the same time. So I like hearing when people like give themselves dedicated time to be creative, and it's almost like a type A sort of task. It's like, and now you write.
Yeah.
And that's how you know you're being productive.
Yes. It's like there are 2 hours in the morning and I'm not allowed to open my email. I never do this. I open my email anyways. And since I'm writing the song, I'm like, I have to open my email. Yeah. And then I'm like, fuck, ruin the song. But yeah, I feel like if I have a time where I'm like, I just do this every day and it might be total shit. I just have to get stuff out and like kind of keep the faucet turned on no matter what's coming out of the faucet. it's felt kind of helpful. But also sometimes it doesn't work like that. I feel
Sure.
like some days I'm just like, I am so stressed out. I have no time to write. If I sit down, I'll just be like,
Yeah.
and for like an hour, which could be an interesting song, single drone note of exasperation. But yeah, so it's kind of like, it's good when it works, but sometimes it doesn't work.
I
Sometimes-
love that.
Yeah, the human brain is like not meant to do everything we're doing. So it's like you get out of your brain what you can get, and then like, God bless, you know?
Right. No, but I appreciate you letting me pick your brain of your process.
Yeah.
Selfishly, I was just really curious.
Yeah, no, I love to talk about process. I feel like it's easier to talk about process than it is to talk about music, because the music is like what comes out of the process, and the thing
Yeah.
I know is the process, and then it's like, well, something came out of that, but I was doing the process.
Right. And,
And
9
then-
times out of 10, the process doesn't create anything.
For sure.
So
yeah.
it's kind of a miracle when it does.
Totally. So it's like this miracle formed. I don't know how I did it. I guess I did the
Yeah.
process, but I couldn't tell you about the miracle that came out of the process.
Right. I wasn't in my body actually
Yeah,
when that
totally.
happened.
And I wasn't exactly dissociated like normal, but something, yeah. So like it's harder, or it's easier to talk about the process of like, oh, well, I was sitting there.
Right.
This is where I was.
I promise I had something to do with it.
Totally. Yeah.
No, I love that. And I can honestly really connect that sort of experience to listening to the album, because I hear the stream of consciousness
Yeah.
in it. And there's some really just like random analogies and
For
metaphors
sure.
but so intellectual that I would never use to explain things in my life. Like Fish Pills is fucking amazing. Like
Thank
I just
you.
had no idea where that song was going to go.
Right. And me neither. I originally, when I wrote
Exactly.
that song, I sent it to my therapist because I was just going through such a fucked up little bad time. And so I sent her this video, and she was like, oh, exclamation point, we have a lot to talk about, period. And
Yes.
then we ended up never discussing it. I think we discussed whatever was going on at that time. And then I kind of keep her updated on what's happening music wise. I was like, oh, I'm putting out this album, and these are some of the songs that are on it. And she's like, Fish Pills is on it? She's like, oh, I thought that was an exercise to like tell me about. She was like, I thought you were trying to communicate something to me about how bad you were feeling. And I was like, well, no, but it is now a song.
That is so funny.
Yeah, and I was like, I kind of thought it was a song then too, but I guess she thought I was just like trying to tell her stuff.
you were like therapizing to music to
Yeah,
her.
and I was like, respect, but that's not exactly what was going on, but in its own way it was. Yeah,
I love her for accepting you.
totally.
That's sweet.
She really does. She's so sweet. She's so supportive. She's like, yeah. She loves Wake Up is her favorite song though.
Ugh.
She's like, I run to that song sometimes, and I was like, okay,
That feels weird.
totally,
Patient.
slightly
Yeah.
weird, but thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I would love to know for our what the fuck is that course called, everybody? The meal. The
meal.
entree.
Yeah, the entree.
Guys.
Yeah.
The meal.
The main one. Yeah.
Yes, the main course. Thank you. This is your podcast now, actually.
Yeah, thank you.
What is a song to you that sort of represents the project of Nude Number 9 as
So
a whole?
I think speaking of Fish Pills, it's
Yeah.
Fish Pills.
Okay, sick.
And which again, I'm kind of deciding on the spot right now, but yeah, I think that's that kind of like vibe or whatever is in Fish Pills is like what's at the heart of this album for me. It's like this raw kind of like, well, this is what's going on, and this is what
Yeah.
happened, and this is how I'm feeling now, and
Now I'm finished with the novel and I'm working on my thesis. Yeah, I'm finished with the novel and I'm working on my thesis. What do? Do I double my dose? I don't wanna end up comatose, sucking off guys who love when I joke. Ha ha ha, I'm a real big joke.
I think it's kind of like the song itself feels kind of like not shameless and kind of like maybe the common sense of the word, but it feels like I feel like I wrote it having shame, but not like putting the shame into the song, and like but kind of like exploring the shame in the song without having that as like an umbrella over the song.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so I think the album in general, however it ended up coming out through all the different processes, was about just being like, well, where am I at right now? And what am I feeling? And what happens if I just say that? And it was a song I was like, I don't know if anyone will connect to this song or if anyone will like it or listen to it. It's kind of weird. It's like, it's kind of about like me losing my mind while writing this song. And me kind of like going back into my past and feeling like these kind of insane but sort of hilarious things have happened, and they're both funny and they're both like, oh my God, why? And also just feeling like really politically frustrated. And so I think it was made up of so many thoughts and feelings that I, again, like was maybe only sharing with like my therapist at the time, a la me sending her that recording. So that I feel like is like the most rawest version of what's on the album. And I think it's kind of like different iterations of almost that feeling. But if I could almost imagine it like the nucleus of the album, the main course, it would be that one. And that's a song that I think I remember considering putting it out as a single, and I was kind of like, again, I was like, I don't know if anyone else will get this. And so it's been really cool to see that like, whoa, people have like resonated with it. And so it's kind of like, I feel like once you have like, you've tried a little appetizer, it's like, well, this is what's going on. Yeah.
This is it unfiltered.
Yeah.
I love it. It drew me in both of the lyrical content, but also just the style. I mean, going back to the vocal delivery, it's a very different sound, and it is so like inviting in its rawness.
Oh, that's cool to hear.
Yeah. It reminds me a lot of like what drew me into Fiona Apple as a kid. And I wanted to know about your influences and like what has created the sonic world that you've created.
That's a good question. Well, I love Fiona Apple.
Okay.
So much. And it's funny, I feel like I hadn't been as, like, I hadn't listened to as much of her music even before writing Nude Number 9 or while writing Nude Number 9. But it was almost like something that I was working on almost like unlocked my ability to love Fiona Apple.
I so get that.
Yeah. It's so interesting how sometimes you're like, this is now something that's so important to me, but I almost like wasn't there in my journey, my like sonic journey or understanding of different sounds or what I needed for that to like, for me to properly resonate with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so right now I'm kind of like in the craziest Fiona Apple kick.
Awesome.
Oh my God, I kind of can't stop listening in like a medically like kind of concerning way. But I think the influences for Nude Number 9, some of them were, I was listening to a lot of Sinead O'Connor. Cool. I was so inspired by the way she talks about, she's so honest in songs, and the way she talks about being pregnant, the way she talks about things that are going on or were going on politically, racially, like economically, it was so inspiring to me. I feel like there are women who have talked about, you know, their bodies in their songs that has been going on for so long, but there's something about a few Sinead O'Connor songs, specifically like Emperor's New Clothes, that really hit for me and made me feel like I could talk about like my ectopic pregnancy in a song. They could talk about like my relationship with like my body and how my mom was involved in that, in Fish Pills or kind of like wherever else in the album. So that was really big for me. And then I think there are so many other influences. I was listening to so much Kendrick Lamar while writing this album, and I don't know how one would like look at my album and be like, Kendrick influences.
Sure.
But that was I was listening to a lot of Kendrick Lamar at the time. And I think thinking about the way he like uses words and metaphors, and this is also, I guess, like halfway through writing the album was when Not Like Us came out, and the producer Ben and I, we would just be like doing like deep dives into the lyrics and being like, and here's how he's doing this, and then he does like this chorus here where he makes it into a callback and he invites everyone to come in against Drake to sing this part at the end, and we're like, it's so brilliant. And then kind of like going back through his discography, and so those are kind of two off the top of my head. but yeah, and then so many others. I think I've like always been really obsessed with all like the pop girlies and Chapel and Charli. And I was really inspired to by the Charli Lord. Why am I blanking on the name of it right now?
Girls. Oh,
yeah,
girls.
Girl,
it's
comma, so confusing.
So confusing.
Yeah, girl, comma, so confusing.
I said girls. It's so confusing.
Yeah, which, true.
Right.
I like that that's speaking to the girls. Girls, it's so confusing.
Girls, listen.
But Girl, So Confusing also came out while I was writing the album. And I've been thinking a lot about, there were a few songs on the album that I wasn't sure that I wanted to put on. Some that didn't make it on, but Heaven was one that was really like, I was like, I don't know if I want to put this on the album. And I was just constantly going back and forth. I like talked to my therapist about it. I was like, do I want this in like the cultural consciousness about my life? Like it's what kind of like boundary do I want up about my life? And like, is this something I want people to be able to have conversations with me about? Or is it something that like I want to be able to like hold inside myself and in my own personal world, outside like the parasocial sphere? And I was thinking a lot about Girl, So Confusing, and and I think this was actually what really made me want to put Heaven out, was talking about Girl, So Confusing with my producer Ben's wife Madeline, and she was like, I think like 8 months pregnant at the time, and we were at this like little song share in I think it was in Altadena at the time, and I was just like so stressed out about, I was so like just in my own world about putting it out. It's like one of those things that in the long run does not matter, but when you're in it, you're like, it's all I can think about. This is life or death if I put this song out. And so the beginning of the night started where there was like a almost like a tarot reading. I don't know what else to call it. There's a guy who was kind of like a magician, but he was like an energy magician. And it involved like tarot cards.
No, a couple men in silver like who would argue the same.
For sure. Believe that tragically. But yeah, it was this guy. He was like my friend's stepdad, I think, named like Girl. Yeah. Anyways, but he was like, he was like a magician, energy something. I don't know. There's a special name that was very impressive. He also kind of like sang, but he did this thing with cards, and he kind of like, he like assigned everyone cards, and he was like, he gave me the Empress card, and he was like, what he said was like very eloquent, and I was like, oh my God, you just like shot me straight through my third eye, you know, like I heard you in my soul. But what he basically was like, said something like, you have something you have to say, and that's like really important.
Whoa.
And like, don't be scared to say it. And I was kind of like, okay, who planted you here?
Right.
And then I was talking with Ben's wife, Madeline, and about Girl, So Confusing, and about how like that's a song that talks about all these parts of female relationships that we just don't discuss. And because we don't discuss them in culture, and because it's a little taboo, it's made it so much easier for like resentments to just build up over years, and friendships to fall apart, and for you to just kind of like drop off the grid with someone because you are kind of jealous of them, or they're jealous of you, or these like these weird things have happened, and you're like, do they hate me? I think I hate me.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was so powerful putting it out, because once there's a reference point for something, once something becomes a common experience, once it's like spoken about, it just becomes less taboo, and it's like, oh, there's this thing we experience, and who knows why it's there. Maybe it's because of like this weird patriarchal system that makes it so we can't talk about these certain things, or we have to be this certain way, or we need to be perfect. And in this conversation with Madeline, we were talking about, the both of us were talking about like how exciting and liberating it was to hear that song, and to hear Lord talking about her body and like her eating disorder, if it's that, I don't know if that's what she'd call it. And in that conversation, Madeline was like, I think this is like a song that, why not have it out there? Why not like allow it to potentially, like, this feels like too big to say, but like to potentially like liberate someone the way I felt liberated by like Girl, So Confusing, or by other songs. So I do not remember the question I was asked, and I do not remember how I got here, but this is to say that that was like a really important, I think we were talking about inspiration. So yeah, Girl, So Confusing was really inspirational to me, inspiring to me, because I felt like it was like a reminder of how like the truth really does set you free.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I guess it's always like to a certain degree, and in certain contexts I feel like I need to add disclaimers to that for some reason. But yeah, there's something so, at least like personally freeing about saying the truth, about like speaking about your own experience and being able to own it, and allowing yourself to be seen by others, because there's something about like allowing yourself to be seen that allows others to like be able to take care of you in a way. Like I think in the like Lord Charli relationship, I'm totally parasocialing it, but like I'm like, yeah, how could anyone else understand or like what you're going through, or like be there for you if you don't tell them, and you're kind of just like have this like false self up about who you are.
Yeah. That's huge. Okay, wow.
Yeah, so that song, love that song. Such a good song.
Love that song. Yeah. I mean, that's both like sonically inspirational, and also I think throughout the entire album you are saying things that maybe other people would have been scared to say first, but that's the reason that you say them, is so that we all feel a little bit better about speaking it out loud. And there's also something so validating about saying those things in a voice that is only yours, and people still understanding and like being willing to hear you through it. Yeah,
there's something a little like fucked up about it too, though, that I think I'm like also still working through. Just like there's something about it's so complicated, because it's like the most empowering and freeing thing to like say your truth, but also it's like when you have a microphone and you're on a stage, there is like a power dynamic, you know, of being like, this is my story, or this is what happened to me. And then there's people who are involved in that story who who are kind of like, well, that's not my version of it, you know?
Yeah.
So it's so complicated, but I guess that's what like art is all about. It's like, you have to allow for everyone's subjective experience, and imagine that it's like, it is coming from, I think you can feel when something's coming from like a good intention of someone being like, I need to say this, not like I want to hurt you.
Yes, because it's not a diss track.
No. Well, yeah. I feel like Nick is a little bit of a diss track. Slightly. Not fully, slightly. And I feel like I allow a diss track if I also take accountability. I'm like, I will diss you if I diss myself.
Sure.
But yeah, I feel like it's something I'm thinking about a lot, like how to speak your own truth, how to say what is true to you, while also like allowing it to be hurtful to other people, but also keeping in mind like wanting to, I don't know if protect people is the right word, like not needing to protect people, but doing so out of a place of like wanting to be really generous with the way you describe people and like the way you speak your truth, I think.
Yeah, you're being mindful.
Yeah, being ultimately mindful.
Ultimately.
Yeah.
It's your perception of the experience, and you own that, and that's what matters.
Yeah, totally.
I'm very curious for our third track. What's your like personal favorite off of the project? Or maybe one that you're like loving a little extra these days.
Yeah. I mean, I love Colton Denver so much. Like that's one of my favorite songs to play live. Okay. Yeah, it's a song that I find so weirdly comforting, and I can't figure out why. Or I guess I kind of know why. But yeah, I find it so comforting to play like by myself, and so comforting to play solo or duo. And then when I'm playing with a band, it feels so fun. And at the release show in New York, that was probably one of my favorites to play live, because it was also like one of the songs where everyone seemed to know the lyrics, and which like blew my mind. I was like, what the hell?
That's cool.
Where did you guys find this song? How did you hear it?
How could anyone be like you are to me? Waiting for another one. Maybe it's the big one. Called off the date 'cause I didn't think we'd have fun.
Like, wait, did I put this online or something?
Right.
It was kind of that feeling like, but that doesn't make sense. How would you come across it? Because I feel like there's always like your own personal experience with the song, even when it's online. Maybe you feel this, where it's like, how did you know you heard the lyrics, but how did you get them to come out of your mouth? I don't know.
You read my journal?
Yeah,
like,
you read my
what's
journal.
up?
Yeah. But I think, that song is like both, I find so comforting, but so fun. And I feel like is one of the songs where there's like really a chorus. And because there's some songs on this album that were like, oh, didn't end up with a chorus, or there's like a refrain, or but that's just what came out. And I think I've kind of gotten like addicted since then to like being in chorus mode.
Okay.
And I'm now like, for this new unannounced project, the project that shall not be named, well, which I guess isn't named yet, is it's kind of like, it's like so chorus heavy so far in a really fun way, where I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to play these like live at shows. And
that's awesome.
Yeah.
We're in the pop structure.
We're kind of like in the pop structure phase.
That's awesome.
Where it's kind of just like, I want a chorus. I want a chorus. I want to chorus.
To chorus.
I want to chorus right now. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. I have to mention Daddy Longleg because that's just everything to me in this moment in time. So
thank you for saying
giving
that.
her a moment in space.
Totally. That is a song. I love that song so much. It's a song that I cannot rehearse that song. It's like when I'm with my band, I'm like, we don't rehearse this. We just play it live. And because it will make me cry. Yeah. Giselle, I wrote this to you on Instagram, but like I had dinner with friends the night I started writing it, and then I was like, hey guys, I'm writing a song, so I'm just gonna be like a little bit later. And they're like, no worries. And then I was like, hey guys, it's gonna be like another hour. It's like, so sorry. I'll be there soon. Like, you can order without me. They're like, no worries. I like show up, my eyes are like swollen shut. I'm like, they're like, did you are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I finished the song. No, I just finished it. But yeah, so that's a song I love to play live, because in the moment with the band, it feels so good. And there's this like huge explosive moment at the end where I get to yell, and it's so fun. Yeah. But I cannot be alone with that song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did, before everyone showed up today, I did like one more listen through of the album, and I shuffled it for an odd reason. I don't know why.
Okay,
like,
cool.
Sorry for the disrespect.
No. I actually respect that. I've never done that before, and I'm curious if something like crazy came out of that.
Something crazy did come out of it. Okay. Daddy Longleg came up second, which
that's really fucked up.
That was really bad for me. And then I was just like alone in this office at 8:30 in the morning, and I cried.
Oh no.
And then actually one of our coworkers like caught me, Josh Kitchen. He caught me on the way to the bathroom, and he was like, hey. I was like, I'm just waking up.
Sorry. Sometimes I cry when I'm tired.
There's like tears in my eyes. And then Stanley was the last song that played. And that was an interesting closer.
That is a really interesting closer. I stand by Stanley as a closer song. I think it.
Okay.
Yeah. But I cannot like legally stand by Daddy Longlegs as an almost opener, because that's kind of like, I'll be sued.
Crazy. One of the first songs I listened to of the day.
Oh my God.
But I love it, and I do think that every time I listen to it, it means something else. So yeah, thanks for that.
That's really cool. Like, do you feel like in your life, like it relates to different things? Or
yeah, I feel like when I first listened to it, I was thinking about like relationship, and then I was like, oh, and now I'm thinking about like my family and my childhood, and then I was thinking about me, and I was like, I have the hollow mind, you have the hollow mind. Like, we are all
hollow mind,
literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that one, I mean, like, kind of thank you, fuck you for that.
Totally. And namaste.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyways. I have 3 final questions.
Yeah.
First, I would love to know if Nude number 9 were a candle, what would it smell like?
Oh.
I don't know if Giselle asked you this. She might have.
No. Okay, when would you have asked me this?
I don't know.
I haven't interviewed her yet.
Oh.
I know. You're under the impression I did.
I thought you guys, like, talked. You're just buddies?
Not physically.
Not physically. We've talked emotionally and spiritually.
Oh, I love that.
Not physically.
I'm sending you messages.
I just thought that.
That's a really good question. When I was doing merch designs, my friend Emma was drafting up designs, and they were like they made like a perfume Nude number 9 and like a candle Nude number 9 on the shirt, and we didn't end up using them, but I was like, it does kind of sound like a candle fragrance.
Yeah.
I think it might be. Have you guys ever seen the movie? I always like mess up the last word of it, but American Hustle.
If anyone did, it would be Giselle.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not in so long.
Okay, so I also haven't seen it in so long, but
okay.
There's this moment in it where, and it's possible I'm totally making this up, so we'll see.
Good.
Someone can fact check me, but Jennifer Lawrence has this nail polish, and it's like why, which is insane. It's like, yeah, this is I think in the film they're like, and that's why all the men are attracted to her, like not because she's beautiful. Like, it's like, yeah, she has this crazy nail polish.
Right.
But the idea of the nail polish is that it's basically like, it smells, I think like mostly like flowers, but like a little bit like garbage.
Oh.
And what makes it like so delicious is like the slightly disgusting smell mixed, like that's beneath the beautiful smell. And so I imagine a candle that would smell mostly really good, like maybe like a jasmine. But then there'd be maybe jasmine, a little like cedar. There's something a little bit like earthy about it. But then there'd be something in there that was like a little disgusting, but in a way that actually kind of smells good. And I don't know how to explain that.
I think I know what you mean.
Yeah.
You know, when you go to the beach, this happens with me and my mom, and she loves the smell of the ocean, and sometimes it just smells like dead fish to me.
Yeah.
And she's like, this is my favorite smell in the world.
Okay, I get this exact same thing because I sometimes think the ocean smells so bad.
Right.
Like, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to vomit. And then there are people who like either grew up around the ocean or have these different memories around it where they're like,
they are breathing
they're
that
like, they're
in.
like trying to like inject it into their veins. And I'm kind of like, I can take a little bit, but like I need to back up a little bit. So I feel like it's kind of like that. And it's maybe like a little bit of an acquired smell or taste. I remember as a kid, I used to be obsessed with the way new shower curtains smelled. They smell like...
That's very interesting.
Yeah. they kind of smell like... It must have been so bad for me, whatever I was huffing, when I would just be like
plastic.
Yeah, it was like, probably it's like vinyl plastic thing, but I found it so delicious and so disgusting at the same time. I feel like same with gasoline. As a kid, I like loved the smell of gasoline. I was like, oh my God. My mom would be like, whoa, what are you doing? Yeah, so I feel like it would have like one of those weird notes in it that was like a little disgusting, but if you understood how like, if you'd acquired the taste for kind of like being okay with a little bit of like a raw disgusting thing, you could be down.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is a great answer.
Thank you so much.
Okay. I would also love to know what your favorite sound is right now, but like a life sound, not like a music sound.
Well, there's something really sweet coming to my head, which is like someone I really love right now in my life laughing. Okay. That brings me so much joy. I'm gonna like cry thinking about it.
Okay. Yeah, nothing really beats that.
You're happy. Sometimes I made you laugh.
Yeah.
So I like that a lot.
That's perfect. My very final question is who your ones to watch are. So who are you listening to that I should be listening to?
Oh my God. Okay, well, I randomly just got into this band today that I've been really obsessed with, and I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's Shushu, but it's Xiuxiu.
Oh, okay.
And I realized I knew them from, they did this like song featuring Mitski a while ago.
Whoa.
And that's not my favorite of their stuff, but yeah, there's a song that's like, I Love the Valley O, I think that's what it's called, that I've been loving. Fiona Apple, Fetch the Bolt Cutter is like, oh my God, like that girl was in touch with God for sure when she wrote that. And then what are some of the other things? I've been really obsessed with some of the new songs off the Mia Folic album.
Okay, yeah.
Specifically Fist and This Time Around. Oh my God, so good. My friend Lily Talmers from Brooklyn just put out this beautiful album that I've been loving. My friend Allegra Krieger is just like, there's nothing as good as Allegra's music ever.
Okay, love that.
Just specifically, I kind of can't get enough of Nissan Ultima by Doechii.
Awesome.
That's, again, like medically, I'm kind of like, gotta stop listening to this. And is there anything else in kind of like my ones to watch?
Great.
Mind right now. And then I guess if like for anyone who hasn't gotten into Sinead O'Connor, I would recommend Emperor's New Clothes and Black Boys on Mopeds.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is some good homework.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Get to work.
Me too.
Ladies, get to work.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
Oh my God, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I know you're only here for a short time, so we really appreciate it.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, once again, this is Ones to Watch Chef's Choice. I'm Abby Kenna, and this is Camille Schmidt. Check out Nude number 9.
Bye.
Bye.